Get ready to
Bomba! Welcome to Bomba Live, the show you've been waiting for. On top of Philadelphia, we're here at the iconic Pyramid Club, along my host, the founder of Love Shouldn't Hurt, and the original co-producer, executive producer of Bomba Live, Christina Vega. What's going on, Christina?
What's up? I'm excited. I love being here.
There's only one thing better to have one powerful Puerto Rican superwoman, but we have two today.
We do.
So, Christina, why don't you introduce our very special guest host who's a big part of the family?
Of course. Thank you, Ray. It's a pleasure to introduce our special guest. She is activist and businesswoman, Monica Parrilla, because you got to get her name right. I'm honored to introduce I'm honored to have her here with us today because she's such an important part of our community, but also a special shout out to producer Taylor Cordatis and SBX Productions for being here with us today.
No doubt. Monica is funny because we go behind the curtain. So, Christina, she produces these shows, but she comes on here. So she goes, I got this great idea with this coast I got. Oh, she got an auto body shop. She in the community. She my sister, with all the other stuff they be doing, all the strutting stuff. She goes, and I got Monica Parrilla. I said, that's fair. What are you talking about? Monica used to come on the show with Monica used to do the show with me when it was like online, on the radio. You're like one of the OGs of the Bomba Live game. So, Monica, it's great to have you on the show. But Monica, it is kind of next level to do it here on top of Philly.
It is.
I can see your business from here. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Thank you for the introduction. This is very upscale. Very, very
It's a little something.
I love it.
It's a little something. Before we get into your thoughts on a lot of things later on in the show, fam, we're going to get into the political stuff. There was a political article that everyone in D.C. is calling me about the state of Pennsylvania Latino Vote. The Wepa segment, it is Mark Anthony concert season.
It is that time.
So, Puerto Rican, this is like, Lent. You know what I mean? Like, we're getting into it. And we'll get into some of the other headlines. I did want to shout out, Monica. There's going to be a lot of Puerto Rican women power here, but I do want to shout out your amazing husband, Marz. And I want to shout him out.
Yeah.
Because
he's a cool guy.
If you're Puerto Rican that got here like less than 15 years, the homies down the way they're not sure about me. They're like, casi gonna Balanquito, la maneca habla. And he gives me a lot of credit in the neighborhood. So I just want to thank him because I go to a cigar spot, or I go to a lounge, I go to the barber shop. If I walk in Marz, I get cosign.
You're good.
So I appreciate that.
Stamp of approval.
So Christina, this is a lot going on. So what I wanted to do is start out with this episode. There's actually, in a weird way, a continuation of a conversation I had with a great friend, Edwin Desamore, and actually with art by Sergio Nick Rodriguez. We had this theme going on around the relationships in our lives and trying to define, and I couched it in the context of having a wonderful Latino Heritage Month event, a live show that's Taylor produced with us at XBX Productions. And we had, so my comment was, there's 100 people here. A third of them don't care about me, don't care about us. They're just here for the booze and the partying.
Right.
A third of us, they cool. They're cool. They're in the mix. Then there's the ride or die squad. So both these ladies are like, we had some thoughts about this conversation.
Yeah.
So Christina, let's start with this. When I put the quote, my first quote I wanted your comment on is, not everyone is on the same level in your life.
Yeah.
So I see those eyes lighting up here. So talk to me. How does that comment hit you?
It hits at the perfect timing, right? Because I think that I'm at as my grandmother would say, época in my life where we're learning those lessons. We're learning those lessons of the placement of people within our lives, right? So, I have Love Shouldn't Hurt, and I have my organization, and there's people who have been ride or die from the beginning. People who are like, I got you, I'm here. Like, shout out to Ray Velez from the beginning. He's like, I got you, we're here. And then there's people who are a part of it, but just want to be a part of the photos and say they were a part of something, right?
Yeah.
So you learn to put people in their appropriate placing. You learn to say, you know what? These are the people who are in my life because they're with me for this. And then these are the people in my life that, they support once or twice, but, I know where to put them. I think that at this age, we have to have levels. We have to have levels of friendships, the people you're always with, the people you're sometimes with, and the people that you see and you greet from afar. And I think that's just throughout life. But as we get older, especially now, I'm learning those lessons.
Monica, I always had a hard time with this, and I guess I still do to some degree because I used to take to heart when everyone wasn't where I thought they should be.
Yeah.
And even I think a lot of times we assume just because someone is blood related or someone you grew up with or someone that's supposed to be close to you, isn't there on the level that you want them to be.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But on some level, I made that comment because I have to do better at letting that go and just take people for where they're at.
Yeah, definitely. I agree wholeheartedly. And it all depends on what part of your life you're in. So
Yeah.
I feel like in your level, you're in the perfect spot where you can identify who are the long-lasting ones, which are the permanent ones, and
Yeah.
which are there for the photo ops and stuff.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning, though, it's important that the ones you're talking about, the ones that you put those high expectations on,
Yeah.
it teaches us a lesson to us not to put those expectations on.
Yeah.
It's kind of like fool me once on me, fool me twice, or on you and then twice on me type of thing. Because I look at it this way. Jesus is like, I'm not like the biggest Christian in the world, but Jesus was a big deal or is a big deal. And he had 12, only 12. We think about our followers and we're like, oh, I have like 2,000 followers or whatever. I'm a big deal. Those 12 people were supposed to be solid.
Solid.
2 of them were tax collectors, which was thieves. One of them was a hypocrite.
One was
sold out.
Judas. You know what I mean?
One of them, and then we look at ourselves like, who are we to have that
That's right.
expectation
That's right.
that our blood is going to stay when they normally, and in my situation in particular, those who know my story, blood was the first one to cut me at the throat. So, these are life lessons. You got to know. And then you have those friends where I have friends that I've had since high school, where we could dip off for 3-4 months, even a year.
Yeah.
But when we pick up,
No doubt.
we pick up right where
No
we
doubt.
left off.
That's right. And if you're in need, they're the first ones, even though if you're not in regular communication with them.
Yeah.
But so Monica, but this is not easy because at the same time, even if you're trying to put them in, I don't want to say in their place, but keep them in that level, they sometimes, the people that aren't on that level have expectations of you to be there for them in a way that we can't even expect them to be there for. So, I mean, there's a lot to juggle with this whole dynamic.
But I think the expectations is our biggest default. I think that we are placing expectations on people, so we're setting ourselves up for the disappointment because this is something we expect from them. And I've learned that so much. When I started this journey and even to where I am now, there are moments where I'm like, how is this person not supporting me? Because in my mind, I'm like, I've done this and this and this and that. And then now I'm like, they're not doing it to me. But they don't know that I've placed that expectation on them. So it's what I'm expecting of them. So like you, I need to let it go. Even my daughter has had times where she's like, Mom, let it go. Whoever's there is who's there.
That's right.
So it's that moment that it's kind of like that aha moment, like, okay, I need to let this go.
Yeah. And do good. Like I'll speak for myself that I know that I'm real sensitive about feeling like I'm not getting stepped on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes there's just people in situations where you're going to have to be the bigger person and you just have to be okay with that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Monica, I think if you definitely for the people you care about, you're a ride or die. That's your steez. You know what I mean?
I sure do. I'm loyal.
And
So
loyal. Talk to me about that dynamic because you not only have to, I'm real big on, we have to be able to identify who those people are in their life and they're not always the usual suspects, but we gotta take care of them. You know what I mean? It's important.
Absolutely. Aside from expectations, I think the people who make us feel or have dropped our expectation that we did expect, they're teaching us something.
Yeah.
So they have to go in order for us to grow.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it again. They have to go in order for us to grow.
And that's a bomba right
So-
there. Come on, fam.
Bomba!
Y'all need to rewind that and play it a few times. That's going to be an IG clip.
Because then you know not to, one, hold expectations, and two, that feeling that you get makes you a stronger person on the inside.
Yeah.
That downfall, that motivation that they took from you energizes you to keep going forward and do even better. See, in my situation where, I was running a shop before, those that don't know, we used to run a shop before, a lease space, and the rug was pulled out from under us. And me and Marz were at a place where we're like, oh, what are we going to do now? We really empezamos en cero. And then we're like, you know what? This is going to be a motivation because I have a point to prove. So everybody serves a purpose, whether they meet your expectation or they be your ultimate downfall. It makes you stronger as a person. You just keep going forward.
It's also about seasons too, because one of the things I find too is that there was people who I probably, if I'm being honest about it, were frustrated that were part of my life that I never felt like, could have done a little bit more to push to support this vision of Bomba Live. But on some level, what I noticed about when we had the event in October is that they're visual learners. They got to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as much as that's kind of annoying to me on some level, but I got to respect the fact that for them, they needed to see certain things.
Absolutely.
And now I see definitely a level of more support.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I started Love Shouldn't Hurt with just maybe 5-6 people who believed in me, right? And then we had our showing, and obviously people came and they supported, but still I didn't get what I thought I was going to get from folks. And then, every year I have a gala, right? And when I have the gala, I have my core people who come. And for the first time, and I've been running for 5 years, for the first time last year was when I had an abundance of family there.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Look at that.
And it was the same thing. They've supported me from afar, but coming to the gala, at the end of the night, they were like, oh my God, I'm blown away. Like the way that the victims' families know you and how everyone gave you love. And I'm like, I've been saying that from the beginning, but a lot of people are visual. They have to see it to believe it sometimes. And it's hard for us because we're the ones like, I'm doing this all the time. You should believe in me. But when you get that buy-in, it kind of, it made my heart feel better.
Christina, I think of you as someone that how much do you, I would imagine this maturation process for you is you've been able to let a lot go because you're such a selfless person and such a giving person. And I would imagine you've gotten disappointed by a whole lot of people a lot.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So like, how did the Love Shouldn't Hurt journey help you with this process?
I think it's what shaped me and has me with this new mindset. I tell people all the time that I'm a lot more assertive than I used to be. Everybody knows me. I've always been very boisterous and exciting and laughing and goofy and loving on people. But this journey has allowed me to be all those things, but very focused on what my goal is.
It turns out we didn't know a lot about you on some level. You know what I mean?
So it educated folks, but it also showed me who people really were. And you said something, it was super key. You said season. And I think that's what's important. I think that's a part that all of us need to learn and accept, that sometimes we have folks who are in our lives and they're here for the moment and we hope that they're going to be there forever. But, oftentimes, like they say in the Bible, people are here for seasons in your life. And sometimes they were just for you to, learn that lesson. And sometimes they were there for that moment when you needed them. And we have to be able to accept that those seasons.
And vice versa too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think about it for myself. I'm like, for this person, I had a contribution, but I'm probably not for them 24/7.
Yeah.
For the long haul, because everyone's different. Everyone has their own way. And,
Absolutely.
And we've all got a couple friends on there from your youth on Facebook that think like it's from we're not the same fam, and then and then there's a little tension about it. But I'm like, well, you're kind of still where we were, and we're all a little different.
And that's the thing too, really quickly, is that some of those people who aren't in the day to day with us expect us to be the person we used to be. Oof. And it's hard for them to accept the new people that we've become.
Well, they got to look in the mirror too.
Yeah.
That
you know
part,
what I mean?
Yeah.
That part.
Talk to me, Monica. Come on.
Look, I've been biting my tongue.
I know. I'm trying to get it out.
When I start moving side to side, I have something to say.
Like in church.
Come on, Monica. Break it down. That's why you're here.
When you reach that level, te tiene que sacudir. Like, you have to shake it off, because there's going to be two types of people once you reach your level. You're going to have the type that's like, wow, I couldn't believe you did that. And they want to join the bandwagon, right?
Yeah.
Si te tienen algo para ti, y es para ti, or a vision that'll help you get where you want to go, great, ayúdame, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
But then they're going to be those people that'll be like, oh, I could do what she could do.
Yeah.
Then they'll get next to you to learn everything that you've already went through.
Oh my God, you preaching
right?
now.
Yeah.
Right? So they want to learn from you, and they want to do what you do. Let me
There's
know
one
the
or two podcasts
connections
out there.
and how you did that. And I could do this because I know these people too. No, sacúdete, because you have to know who's with you and who's just running behind your coattails. So be very careful. Sacúdete.
There's one or two.
Yeah.
There's
That's
one or
why we
two.
said we could talk forever.
There's
on
one or
this
two.
segment.
There's one or two. I do want to. Well, we're going to a future episodes, no doubt. This is a section that I want people that are watching this, listening to this, give us your opinion on our social media. Bombala, Monica, Christina, love her.
Absolutely.
Because I think there's a lot of people out there that are feeling this conversation, and it also could be a very stressful conversation. We need to, on some level, we got to let it go.
Yeah.
I did want to give us an opportunity to learn more about our very special guest, Christina. Monica, as people can tell already, she got a lot going on that we wanted to highlight.
Absolutely. So I already said that it was a pleasure to have her here, but I have to shout out that she's also my sorority sister. So I hold a very huge respect for her.
Yes,
but
Vegas are here. Yes.
We want to highlight your unique background and what makes you you. So we know that you're out there with many elected officials. That's been kind of like your journey, and that's how a lot of people know you. Some people don't know you are a Latina female business owner.
Yes.
And it's a female mechanic. Like, that must be difficult. How did that journey start?
Super, super difficult. So I don't know. I kind of grew up in a shop, and of course, nothing would have been done without my loving husband, Marz. But I grew up in a shop, and so did he. His dad was un jalataleo, paint cars and stuff, and mine was the mechanic. So like every parent that comes here with their family that lives in Philly when they're growing up and starting those bodegas, those businesses, those barbershops, they always believe that their child could do better. Mecánica no es para ti, go to college, be something bigger. And that's what I did. I was like, you know what, let me go to college. So I did that. I became an accountant. I became an auditor. I worked for TD Bank. And back then, way back then, it was Toronto Dominion Bank. So I would go back and forth from Philly to Canada.
Oh, I didn't know.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
So my family is what made me start this small business. Andy comes home one day, and this is it's a good story, but it was a turning point for our family. And unfortunately, it just goes to show the sacrifices that women in particular have to make for their family. Okay. So here I am, highlight of my career. I was making like the buku money, doing what I was doing and traveling, which I loved and enjoyed. My son comes home one day running through the door right after school because he was being chased by another group of boys. Wow. So when I get home, he explains to me what happened. And I live in North Philly, and I love North Philly. I'm never going to leave North Philly. But I had to make that decision. I need to be more conveniently available for my son and my children. So I had to make that sacrifice. And I knew that I had to make it, but at that moment, I didn't like taking any risks. Yeah. So I told Marz, and Marz was like, we can start a business. We can be close. We can be flexible. Yeah. I said, okay, let's make a deal. I keep working for the next 6 months. If you can run a shop and cover all of the expenses and me not have to put 1 foot forward, I'll leave what I'm doing and I'll run with it. That man for 6 months did everything. He blew me away and I said, okay, the juice is worth the squeeze. Yeah. I left my job.
Quarters, what are you talking about?
So I left my job, my corporate America job, and started this. And let me tell you, had I known what I know now, I would have done this a long time ago. Yeah. It tightened our family. Every day after school, the kids are there. Yeah. Homework is done. I mean, lo que falta allí en el taller es una cocina, because if I had the kitchen there, I'd be there all day. So it's kind of like, it's exciting. It was a family movement. I already knew what I was doing because I grew up in the shop. So it was like going back home for me, Yep.
Wow. So as a woman, right? Because you have, I'm sure there's pushback, right? I'm sure there's men who walk into your shop and they see you and they're like, can you get the mechanic? And you're like, I am the mechanic. Yeah. Well, can I get an owner? I am the owner. Like what do you get from men when they walk in the shop and see that you're there?
All the time, at least 3 times a week. But you know what I love? I have a great band of brothers that works there that they kind of help me prove a point. So I'll give you a perfect example. Guy walks in and he's like, walk in, and he's like staring. I say, how can I help you? He said, no, I want to talk to somebody about my car. And I'm like, okay, so how can I help you? And he's like, no, pero es que estoy buscando. So I do the little, okay, está bien. I walk away. And they find like one of the mechanics. And I'm like, mira, yo estoy. They'll turn around and be like, I'm busy. Ve y habla con ella. And I love that. They do it on purpose. Like, you got to go talk to boss lady over there. Yeah. So they kind of help with that. It's definitely annoying that I don't get credibility because I'm a woman in a male-dominated industry. Absolutely, yeah. It is annoying. But at the same time, it's entertainment. I like it because then when they do find out, they're like, dang, and they're all impressed. You should have been impressed at the door. In. Yeah. At the door.
One day, we're going to, like we have nothing else to do, but one day, we're going to get together like we did to put together the Death of Cocotazo show. We're going to do a show about your life, Monica, because I say to people, I said with the not that we don't too, but like, you got an urban crowd, you got the barbershop thing. In the Latino community, it's the mechanic shop in the Salon de Vega, so that's where everything's going down.
You know it all.
So, I mean, you talk about, you get political. We're going to talk politics later, political consultants, but you know what's going on. When they came from Washington, D.C., your husband, you weren't around.
Yep.
And the shout out to our friends at Eki's Lab, Carlos and Alexis. They said, we want to go to the place that knows everything that's going on in Philly. So I said, well, we're going to go across the street, go talk to Monica and Marz. So what's the lesson you've learned in the body shop that you've taken to the activism? Because you're very politically connected.
A lot, actually. When you work at a body, it's kind of like a barbershop. You get the 411 on everybody, everything. A qué hora cerraron la bodega, que si la barbería, like you hear it all.
And the thing is, the guys are more bochincheros than no females.
Yes, they are.
So the mechanics, I know them guys, they talking, they flap.
They're worse.
And you know what they do? They think that they don't do, they be like, acá entre nosotros. That's how it starts.
Claro.
And in my head, I'm like, we be doing that too. But I don't say nothing. I'll be like, sí, acá entre nosotros, cuéntame.
Sí.
Yeah, I definitely get the 411 from everything. As a matter of fact, somebody came in recently and was like, "Y qué truque de Sherelle?" So we always have like a
Yeah.
conversation
No
going
doubt.
on, and you know, all of their doubts and all of the kind of like, well, what's going to happen next type thing.
Mhm.
They always come in and ask because they know that I do a little bit of footwork, you know,
Yeah.
boots on the ground type thing. So there's always a good political conversation, specifically now because I feel like a lot of Latinos in Philly, you know, is predominantly Democrat.
Yeah.
But then there's like those one-offs or, you know, not many that'll come in and be like, ay, yo no sé, como que Trump va a ganar.
Yeah.
And that's
We're
when I
go-
get
we're-
started.
we're gonna talk
That's
about
when
that
I
in a
get
second,
They get her
yeah.
started. They get her started.
We're gonna talk about that.
Listen,
Yeah,
I can
do this.
attest. I have gone into her shop because I have like downtime, and I go in to see her, and I don't see her. I'll go into her office, and immediately they're knocking. We need Monica.
Oh
Monica.
yeah.
And she's
Oh,
running
yeah.
back and forth,
No,
and I'm
it's
like,
24/7 over
I'll
there.
just call you another day.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So we wanted to also catch up people with Christina. Love shouldn't hurt. Christina, let people know. And we're gonna have an episode right before this event, just exclusively focused on promoting it. But you got a big announcement today. You got some big moves coming
Oh
up.
my God, yeah. So we are so extremely excited. We've been talking about it. It's kind of been in the works for years, and we keep saying we wanted to do it. But we're finally putting together our Women's Empowerment Conference, April 27th. We have amazing people coming out. We're super excited. Our keynote speaker is April Hernandez Castillo. And I love shouting her out because when I found her on Law and Order, and if you know me, that's my favorite show in the world.
Yeah.
But she also, you know, co-starred in Freedom Writers, which is
Yeah.
a fantastic film with Hilary
Absolutely.
Swank. So she actually was on my show. She was an original connect from our very first Bomba Live.
Yes.
Through another artist, and she has a very intimate story about her domestic violence experience. So she's gonna come out and speak to it to our crowd. You know, we're catering to women and young teens. So if you have young adults out there that you think can benefit from those conversations, they're gonna come. We have an MMA fighter who'll be doing self-defense classes.
Oh, that's what's up.
We have an all-women symposium. So in the gym, we're gonna have all women-owned businesses. We'll be there for them to check out throughout the day, and just different workshops. So we're super excited for this to happen this year.
Give us dates, locations,
Yeah,
where they can go to sign up, register,
absolutely.
learn
So,
more about it.
to sign up, you can either use Eventbrite. You can go to any of our social media. You can buy tickets through our website as well, loveshouldn'thurtphilly.org. It is April 27th, and it will be at, if you're in North Philly or from North Philly, you know where the old Cardinal Doherty building is. It's now Aspira's main campus. So we will be there on April 27th, and we're super excited from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And
We are-
Monica's actually one of our presenters.
Oh, fantastic.
am.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a must go to. Even if you're not in Philly, you know,
Yeah.
if you're in New York or DC, it's only a few hours drive. We want to make this, we want to grow this Love Shouldn't Hurt movement. And we are here to support Love Shouldn't Hurt. We strive to be your ride or dies here, support the movement 100%. And we need to find, and I know Edwin's a big part of this, and Charlie, some of the other men that have been on the show, we have to find more ways to engage men in this conversation,
Absolutely.
to be there to hold other men accountable and to support
Absolutely.
women in this journey to eradicate femicide and domestic violence from our community. It's a tremendous crisis on the island that we're continue to monitor. Before we take our first break, I wanted to shout out our show sponsor, the Latin Podcast Awards. People remember our great friend Felix Montalada flew all the way up from Alabama to
Yeah.
MC our Latino Heritage Month event. He has put out a call. He is looking, Monica and Christina, for 100 Latino podcasters around the country to submit their shows for nominations for the 2024 Podcast Awards.
Mhm.
And so, Christina, I was telling you that you need to submit Love Shouldn't Hurt. But I thought about it because you would fit the most for the best video podcast. You have a wonderful podcast. People should watch it. But that means it would actually compete against Bomba Live. So you actually...
So it'd be a win-win.
It actually, for you, it'd be a win-win. Yes, it'd be
For
like
me,
a
it'd be a
collab. Like
win-win.
Beyonce does a song with Rihanna, and then she has a solo. So tell people, Christina, the podcast journey for Love Shouldn't Hurt and for you personally has been a big part of your trajectory.
It has actually, and shout out to Ray. People don't know, some don't know. Ray is like a big brother to me. I literally know him from the day of my birth.
Well, the day he came out of the hospital.
Day
But
I
yes,
came out of the
yeah.
hospital, we drove past
In the
his
whip,
house.
yeah.
Yeah, so
And
that
no-
my mother could
I don't know if
introduce
the
me
seatbelt
to
was
his
on
mother.
properly. Back in the days, it was a little different, you know.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but I've known Ray forever, and he's been a huge influence in my life. He started my political journey, you know, being his intern, flying to Chicago. I actually got on a plane for the very first time in life.
That's a
with
whole other
Ralph.
story. Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah,
funny.
that was hilarious. But he, you know, I was actually on his show a few years ago when I started Love Shouldn't Hurt, and actually when I sat within his show, he's like, "You should do this too. You know, you should spread that word." And I started off slow, but I just realized with some Facebook memories that we've been doing it now for 4 years.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we've done it, but it actually has been a huge part of Love Shouldn't Hurt. Like, we do our gala every year, and we do our runs, and we do our regular footwork from day to day, 24 hours a day. But the show itself has caught so much attention because so many people are on social media. So many people are watching when they don't have anything else to do, or they're in the bathroom on their phones. And when we don't do it, I see people out in the public. They're like, when's your show again? Like, why haven't we seen you? We try to take a break in the summer. So we realize now how much it's been an impact for our community. And we've helped people just through having the show. I've had people come to us and say, my daughter was going through domestic violence and I made her watch your show. And do you know she went and got a PFA today? And she went down there. So it's been something that's impacted people. So it's kind of like what's pushing me to continue to do it. You do this, it's not easy all the time, but we push through because of that.
It was so interesting because when you came on the show, I think the first time you did the show was when we were at the radio station at WPPM. Monica used to go there too. Yeah. And I remember after the show, I was like, Christina, you need your own show just to talk about this because, women and survivors need this space. And there's very few places. I mean, there's no mainstream television shows. Yeah. There should be that talk about this in the way you do. And I know the impact is great. And I'm always amazed, despite the passion I have for it, I'm always amazed how much this stuff impacts people and just seeing our voices shared in this way. So definitely, if you're a Latino podcaster out there, definitely go to @LatinPodcast. Check out LatinPodcastAwards.com. Find Felix Montelado on social media. Submit your show. Check out the previous show. The 2023 show was like late last year, so you can learn about what are the best podcasts out there. Thank you so much, Latin Podcast Awards, for supporting the Bomba Live movement. We're gonna watch a best of Bomba highlight clip. We come back, Monica. The White House is calling me. They're scared that Pennsylvania is going to go the wrong way, and they're trying to blame us. And we're trying to warn, we got to share some alarm signals here and break down some knowledge. Thank you for watching Bomba Live, the show you've been waiting for. Do we have the Ricky Martin picture? We got to show it. Come on, fam. We got to show it. All right, Dios mío, look at that. Come on. Ricky and Betty, tell us this story, my friend.
Ricky Martin, Ruben. Actually, Sweet Sensation was on tour with Menudo for a minute. Okay. Cover Girls were on tour. It was Cover Girls, Sweet Sensation, Menudo at the time. This is right before Ricky left the group. That's Ruben right next to him, I believe. Yeah. So, we had so much fun being on tour with Menudo. Now, meanwhile, talk about surreal. I was 14 years old with my best friend from across the street, Sonia, scoping out all the hotels that Menudo was in because I was a big Menudo fan. I love Menudo. I still love Menudo. I can sit here and be like, Súbete a mi moto. I know all the songs. I have belt buckles and I have the jackets, and I loved Miguel from Menudo.
On our Found in Translation segment, we wanted to give the Bomba Live community our take on a Politico article, the omnibus news for Democrats in Pennsylvania, the Latino belt. It looks like some of our Democrats are swaying towards the Republican Party. Ralph, do you think the Latinos are drifting towards Trump?
This is very interesting. When this article came out, I was shout out to our great friend, State Representative Danilo Burgos. We were actually at the White House for a Dominican celebration, which we'll talk about on a future episode with Dionelli and with the Dominicans. But I was up in there representing Monica. Like, you don't even unbelievable. It was unbelievable. So had to represent, and we were actually having this conversation saying, y'all got to give us some resources because we need to communicate with our people. Because when people don't hear stuff, then other things get in the mix. So first of all, I find it interesting that they use the phrase the Latino belt. That actually is a play off what they used to call, or they still call, the Rust Belt of the country, which is like those industrial rural areas in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Ohio. The ones that, they're the political class is obsessed with, how working class white folks, that a lot of them used to be Democrats in the old days, are now Republicans. And so now they're kind of playing off that because they just discovered that we took Reading over in Allentown and Hazleton. So you just should have went to the lakes. You could have known that. You went to Nacogdoches. I could have told you that we took over it's a minute ago.
Marsh Creek,
Marsh Creek, Neshaminy. I mean, come on now. But in all seriousness, that the article laid out, I think, what we kind of pretty much knew, that we know from the polling. Typically, we were the Latino electorate in Pennsylvania, which was almost all Puerto Rican back in the days, was kind of an 80-20, 75-25, real strong Democratic electorate. It's adjusted. Lots of reasons for that. I think part of it is Democrats need to do a better job engaging our folks. Part of it is we're more spread out. So we're in some of these rural Republican areas, and people, that rubs off too. And Trump is kind of a singular figure from the old school New York memories of him being, he's just a very brand that for different reasons attracts people. So Monica, when you read this article, I know it's like part of it's like, well, I could have wrote this. I could have told you so.
Yeah.
You know, we got a few people, you know, that are thinking that way. So Monica, what's your reaction to people's concerns and you know, let's keep it real. We all got a couple cousins that are in this conversation. So let's break it down.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think there's two main reasons why, or to me anyway, two main reasons. I agree, nobody's listening or paying attention to the Latinos right now. But I think it has a lot to do for two things. One, they look at Trump and they're like, oh, él tiene un casino. That's all they know, right?
Yeah.
And then they'll say, oh,
He got money.
That's it. He got
Yeah.
money. He knows how to run a business.
La
So
Mujer Bella
he
and-
must be
yeah.
right. He must be right.
He
And I'm like,
controls them. Yeah, he
It's
got.
like, it's
yeah.
almost like clickbait. Like, oh,
Yeah.
click. Oh, I like
Es
him.
famoso.
Es famoso.
Es
Tiene
duro.
dinero. El gallo
It's-
el papá de los gallos.
Yeah,
come
it's like a
on,
very old
shut.
school Latin American macho man kind of thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And then, you
Yeah.
know, one of the bigger things that I think is a huge hot topic right now is, you know, abortion, right? The bans
Yes.
on abortion. And if we really, really, you know, if you know Latinos, you know, our culture is heavy on religion.
Yeah.
It is heavy on
Yeah.
somos cristianos, somos católicos, nosotros
Yeah.
no creemos en eso. That I think is the biggest sound bit that Trump
Yeah.
can throw out there that all Latinos jump on.
Yeah.
It's that, the
Yeah.
abortion topic. It's
Yeah.
huge.
It's so interesting because, you know, the Republicans, since we were babies, have always had like in the Latino community like that hard 20%.
Mhm.
And a lot of it was single issue. It was just the pastor told me that the other people are killing the babies, and
Yeah.
that's it.
That's it.
Even though if you survey them on every other issue or most other issues, they tend to lean left. You
Yeah.
know, healthcare, economic access,
Yeah.
unionization. But you know, whatever the pastor tells me, I do.
Yeah.
So
That's
and so there's that on steroids because
Yep.
a lot of our community is moving away from the Catholic Church and going to more conservative Pentecostal evangelical churches that are
That's
more
true.
Yeah.
pastor centered instead of like the whole institution. So there is that piece, and then there's like this real guy flavored macho man thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and social media influenced because
Yes.
it's a lot of that. Biden es racista. Biden he's an old fuddy duddy,
See,
and you know look at Trump. So I know with the shop you run into these young boys or these youngish guys that are so what can we tell them? I guess it's kind of the point. We're not going to get them all back.
Yeah.
But and look, nobody's sitting here like, oh, Biden's so incredible. We criticize him all the time.
right.
But you know, there's obviously a clear difference here. So
Yeah.
how do we address this? How do we start having the conversation with people that maybe haven't drunk all the Kool-Aid, but they're
Right.
curious?
Yeah.
know what
And
I
I
mean?
think that the best way for me to relate, and I'm talking about down to the basics.
That's it.
And it's kind of like,
the only
okay,
way to do it.
you know, like I get it. Tú te crees que es macho. He's got the, you know, the casinos going on and all of this. And I'm thinking at the end of the day, no matter who's the elected official, whoever's the president, we're still going to make our money, right? Because we find the loopholes. Us Latinos, like in general, people who own small businesses, we're going to make our money no matter what, right? So at the end of the day, I'll be like, los recursos que tú usas, tu abuelita, tu tía, tu prima, tu hermana, are they on any type of resource? And they be like, bueno, sí, los cupones. I'm like, okay, well, that's all driven off of who's in
That's
that
right.
office.
That's right.
So
That's right.
cuando no vean más nada,
And they're trying to cut snap every
And
which
look,
way to Sunday,
yeah.
fam.
and they catch on quick.
Yeah.
They catch on quick because
And
you got
forget
to
it,
get,
Puerto Rico, forget it. I
that's
mean,
it. That's it.
Trump.
La
don't wanna do
tarjeta de la
nothing for them.
familia, like when that disappears, then what?
We are involved in the movement around a couple of the healthcare movements, paid leave
Mm-hmm.
and the prescription drug piece.
Mhm.
And one of the things we're looking at is what you just hit on, which is we need to talk to the guys about how even if when they lowered prescription drugs for diabetes medication, even it only impacted seniors, but that impacted your mom, that impacted your
Yeah.
grandfather. So because I think our people will respond to those intergenerational messages.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Christina, it's interesting because your crowd is very much kind of like the ride or dies for the Democrats. He's like upperly mobile, educated women of color. You know what I mean? They're like all this nonsense.
Yeah.
So what are the conversations happening in your network around how do we not so much talk to them about it, but how do we educate how they're educating their networks around it? Because I mean, and the domestic violence issue of Wawa is a very big part of this equation. But so how are they thinking about how they're going to talk to, and what do y'all need to give you the tools to reach out to your networks to get people mobilized for November?
Well, that's true. WAVA was a big thing, and Biden was huge on, starting that. So I think that, I mean, you said it yourself. These are all very strongly Democratic women. The women that I hang around are all women who are educated, very well educated, and they're still very strong on Democrat. I think, what I found to me that's more humorous is not even my age range, but the age range that's following now behind us. The 18-year-olds, the 20-year-olds, because they're kind of like swaying. Like I have a 16-year-old daughter. She can't vote yet, but she has talked about going Republican. And I'm like, really? Explain
And why is that?
She just, and I think it's because of the same thing. They're not educated to the things that we already are accustomed to and are educated to ourselves or privy to. All she sees as well is like, she sees videos on TikTok and Biden fell. He can't keep himself up when he's at a news conference.
Like he's going to spill over the button.
So they're just like, he's just a stronger candidate,
And who's denying the funding for the wars?
Yeah.
And who's denying the funding for, to protect Ukraine, so yeah.
Yeah. So I think they just are not educated. And I think that's what we need to do is kind of not even focus, because I think people in our age range kind of are educated enough to know the difference between, okay, Republican, Democrat, let me see what I choose. I think it's the younger people who are coming up. They're the people we need to start working on because those younger Latinos, they need to be educated with what we already know so that they can make better decisions.
It was interesting. So me and Danilo, so this is like real, this is the real deal. Y'all don't even know the levels. So me and Danilo, so I'm at this Dominican event. I'm with Danilo and like 5 other, not just Dominican leaders, but Dominican elected officials from Redding and downtown those places. Shout out to Councilwoman Mota and our buddy Manny Guzman, our state rep in Redding. And we cornered this big shot White House Latino guy. We literally cornered him. I said, y'all are spending all this money with love and more all these people because they watch the show. You get all the consultants spending all this money doing focus groups and doing studies, and you have the leadership. These are the people that the community votes for.
Yeah,
they're in the hood. They live in it. They in it every day. Why don't you empower them to do this? And so my call to y'all DC consultant people that are always texting me because y'all don't know any other Pennsylvania Latinos, get to know our leadership and empower them.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't have a better story. And I'm going to, with my resources, with Unidos US Action Fund, I'm going to be telling the story of these women and the Danilos and all, because we have all the resources, all the knowledge here and the know-how about run campaigns and to talk to our people. But if we just stay in DC worried about it, we're going to lose.
Yeah.
So take that political article as a clarion call. Okay. It's time to get a wet by segment. The best segment on the show. We like to have a lot of fun. Everybody smiles. It occurred to me as I was thinking about the 2 wonderful ladies who are going to be on the show with me today, is that, there's the Puerto Rican Christmas season, which like never ends. And then there was Sanse. But I'm like, hold on. Before we get into Lent, there actually is one more season of Puerto Rican calendar. It is the Marc Anthony concert season because everybody, if you're real Puerto Rican, you know that there's these 2 weeks around Valentine's Day. Miami, San Juan, Kissimmee, Boston, Atlantic City, New York. Yeah. Marc Anthony goes around and he performs for us and we all get very happy because we all go to these shows. So the Philly Salsetta herself, Christina, when I brought this topic up, you were like, yes, we need to talk about it. Can you tell us what the Marc Anthony concert going experience means to Puerto Ricans? Because this is a spiritual experience. This ain't just like going to a concert, fam. It's another level.
You don't go to this concert and sit. If you go to these concerts,
it's a mentality.
You're dancing at the bottom of the steps.
It's a mentality.
Like, security telling you to have a seat because Puerto Ricans are like embedded in this concert. No matter who you are, and you can go every year. Like people will say, "Didn't you see him last year?" And it's like, so what?
Oh yeah.
Like I have to go again.
Yeah,
this
is like a pilgrimage.
It's like a culture thing. Like,
no doubt.
He's a part of our culture. Like I did Christmas, I did this.
And by the way,
I'm going to Marc Anthony's concert.
I want to, especially for non-Puerto Ricans. I know some people are like, well, they have 1 million people. These Puerto Ricans, they got J-Lo and all these reggaeton guys, and we're gonna get into that because I know Monica's down with some of that too. But Marc Anthony's different.
He is.
Talk to me.
No, he is different. There's something about him. I always say, ese gringo. Ese gringo, ese flaquito.
Sí.
Like he just draws you in.
Yeah.
And that man can literally go away for months and you won't hear anything about him making a song. And then out of nowhere, he just drops a song and that's it.
Oh, no.
You hear it in every car going past in North Philly. You hear it everywhere. And it's like he's back to being fire. Like Marc Anthony is just like a staple for Puerto Ricans.
Monica.
And honestly, not just Puerto Ricans at this point.
Everybody. But it's a different, well, yes. All Latino, people down.
Yeah,
Monica, it is Puerto Rican women prepare to go to these concerts, my friend.
Oh my God, they do.
I mean, this is the prom all over again.
It is a prom. But
Talk
let's
to
back
me.
up a little bit.
Yes.
You forgot Octavita. hay Navidad,
Claro,
and
that's why I
then
got
Dia
real
de
Puerto Ricans
Reyes.
on here
Wait,
to
you
catch
got,
me.
You got Navidad, then you got Dia de Reyes,
Claro.
then you have Octavita,
Y
then
después
the
Sunset.
Sunset, which I went to,
She was there.
and then, so live, right? And then after that, prom season.
Then it's
prom
Mark Anthony season.
So women invest in los zapatos, que si la
El
correa,
pelo.
That's right.
que si la gorra.
That's right.
You have to do el trajecito, la faja.
The lashes.
You better have the lashes, girl. Expensive lashes.
this
You got to
is
go all
serious
out.
business
You got to
right
rent the car because you're not driving down there. You got to get the limo or the party bus.
Yeah.
Because
Serious.
I find that women from Philly, my friends, women from Philly prefer to go to Madison Square Garden que Atlantic City. Why? The ride over there is a party in itself.
You hype yourself
You
up.
have
Yeah.
to.
And go to New York. It's a
It's a
certain
hype up.
prestige. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it
absolutely.
also, you tell me, but I think also too is that the Philly women and the outside, they're trying to show the New York ladies like the fashion game. Like
We
we
got
on
it
point
too.
with that.
We
It's a
got it too.
competition within
We
the
got it
show,
too.
fam.
No.
Y'all give me another word, because Monica, you go to a lot of the show. You like, I know you went to Well and all that. Like you be going to the shows. Puerto Ricans, we just love going to concerts. And Choli's always sold out for everything.
For everything.
It's just our thing.
How
We
many
just-
times did Yankees sell that out? Come on. Back to back. That's our
right.
thing.
That's right.
Concerts
I mean,
is our
Rao,
thing.
everybody sell it out. Yeah, that's our thing. On the last segment, I wanted to give these ladies an opportunity to shout out whatever they want to shout out. Really quickly, talk about Puerto Rican women doing their thing. The Puerto Rican women basketball team just qualified for the Olympics. It's amazing. There's 7 or 8 Puerto Rican women that tall to play ball like that.
Yep.
It's incredible. They're doing their thing. Much shout. We had 3 Puerto Rican guys playing in the NFL in the Super Bowl yesterday. Isaiah Pacheco, Boricua from Vineland, New Jersey, which is right down the block. That's one of our homies. Shirley Santos, as part of our show, taught him 3rd grade.
Oh, wow.
She's
Get
She
out.
was his teacher. Yeah, so
Amazing.
he like part of the fam. So Isaiah, much respect to him. And I wanted to shout out Chente Drach. Chente Drach is kind of like, the Island Ray, a big Puerto Rican podcaster. He just got offered a $1.6 million contract for SBS radio.
Wow.
So he started like in his basement like I did, and Chente's doing his thing. So there's a lot of power in podcasting in our community. Monica, I know you guys, give me a shout out. Give me something. Give me a final word, girl.
Final word. I think, as a final word, I would say I consider myself an alpha female. And to me, because it means something different for everybody else, to me, that means I enjoy ambition, I enjoy success, and anything leadership role related. One of the key components of being that type of female is to surround yourself with not followers or people who want to be around you and people who go to those happy hours with you. No, you surround yourself with chiefs, lieutenants, commandos. I mean, people that'll get it done with you. Always aspire to move forward and move up. Don't just settle. And like Kenny Rogers said, you got to know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to walk away, and when to run.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Another
Absolutely.
bomba right there,
See
Monica.
that?
Always an
Dropping
honor for you to
dimes.
have you here. Christina, you get the final word on this
Absolutely.
episode of Bomba.
I think just kind of piggybacking off of her, just find your people. Find those people that you know are your people. And just jumping back to the beginning of our conversation, just, lowering those expectations and kind of just placing them on yourself and saying, this is what I'm going to be willing to give. And this is how much I'm going to give. And, if I don't give that in return, it's okay. I got rid of that expectation because, as she said, we're alpha females. We're going to succeed regardless. We're going to do well regardless. So find your people who are going to elevate you, and you're also going to, give to the people you're going to be able to fill. I often say when I do my morning, happiness for folks, I say, and I get on there and I'm all jolly, sometimes I need my cup filled. I spend my time filling other people's cups. So find those people who are going to fill that cup when you need it most.
Give yourself the gift in 2024 to subscribe to Bomba Live, because you're going to learn and get inspired from these folks. You're going to have a laugh, and you're going to see yourself in this show. And there's so few places where we see ourselves in this light.
Absolutely.
Because we're so beat down by the stereotypes and negativity and the meme of another fight around the corner. And there's so much beauty in our community, and so much brilliance and excellence. And that's why I'm so proud to be associated with these 2 women and their networks. And thank you so much for being part of the show. Subscribe to Bomba Live, fam. It's the show you've been waiting for.